All right, good afternoon, everybody. Great to be here. My name is Sven, co-founder and CEO at Sastrify. And while this was the excursus from SaaS over the last couple of minutes, we're probably all SaaS, as much SaaS as there is out there. But before diving into Sastrify and what we actually do, I also wanted to give you a quick sense about what it means to actually have a strategic SaaS stack, what we mean by that and why it's also important for you and maybe your companies. Well, where's the SaaS world heading? In general, I think this was obviously a challenging year for most SaaS companies. You can see that in any public comparable. At the same time, there's still a big and bright future ahead of us. If you look at the left side of this slide, I always find it quite like a staggering comparison in terms of just how much this industry has evolved over the past decade. Looking at, on the left side, you see it's basically the marketing tech landscape. And as you will be able to tell, you can still spot a couple of logos in there. There's a couple, maybe per category, 3 to 4 players. You could make up your mind when choosing one of them. And then on the other side, you see 2020. That was already 3 years ago, even before the SaaS boom. It's almost impossible. There's thousands and thousands of different, smaller, bigger tools out there. And it's really hard to make the right decisions. And then at the same time, while, as I said, this year was definitely challenging for SaaS companies, the SaaS revenue, the global SaaS revenue, is still projected to reach about $900 billion a year by 2025, according to Gartner. So it's still a growing market. There's still, as you might know and be able to tell, a lot of companies that are just taking baby steps right now in terms of cloud adoption, in terms of really getting into the world of software as a service and really making the next step there. What does this whole thing, this growing market, the number of solutions really lead to? It's what we call the SaaS sprawl in the industry, right? It's about tons of different solutions. There's at least 30,000 different software solutions out there. We see that actually on our platform, how our customers use it. There's just for everything, there's basically a SaaS product out there. And then on the other side, what does it mean for companies? Well, we pulled the number from our own database, and it starts somewhere around 130 software solutions per company that we see. So typically, that's almost at least one SaaS solution per 2 or 3 employees. So it's really a staggering number. We've seen companies with thousands of them, 2,000 or 3,000 different SaaS solutions, often very high correlated to the number of employees there. So it's quite an interesting field. Obviously, everybody these days is making IT purchase decisions, and that's what's really changed. And that's also what leads to this sprawl. So why is this important? Well, if you think about a company, what it means for them, first and foremost, it's a risk factor, right? So the whole topic of IT security events, the whole topic around where are actually my colleagues uploading the data, is it secure, is it compliant, are we actually allowed to use this sort of software within our company? And that bears tremendous risk, right? We always like to say even a free tool online can cost you millions and millions in damages if it's somehow harming your IT security. Then the second piece here is really about the unused and duplicate tools, right? Nobody of us as entrepreneurs likes to pay for things they're not using. It's a waste of money. And obviously, we see tons and tons of tools out there where only you have maybe 500 Salesforce licenses, but only 400 of them are actually being used. So those kind of the wasteful pieces, which are really difficult to get a hand on, especially in those complex structures of software solutions. Finally, everyone who's ever been involved in a SaaS negotiation, looked at SaaS pricing, it can get really complex. And for us, what we see actually as a trend, the whole topic of artificial intelligence and SaaS products that use more and more features that are based on AI, this will also lead to a more usage-based pricing overall, right? So it's not about seats anymore, about how many people log into the software. It's way more about what can the software do, how many cases can the software do by itself, and that's the usage that you're going to get billed for, which basically means it's getting even more difficult to understand. And then finally, it's about really lengthy negotiations, figuring out the right set of spending time with a vendor to get the right outcome for your company. Overall, this means a ton of wasted money. It means a ton of risk on the security side, and it also means a ton of time wasted. And especially in today's times, especially in the venture world, where it's now obviously more important than ever to focus on the right things, do the right things, and be cost efficient. those are really three topics that you need to address. What's our mission with Sastrify? We're the world-leading software operating system. Any successful company should buy and manage their software subscriptions via Sastrify. That's really what we're here for, why we got built, and what we're aiming for over the next couple of weeks. But what does a software operating system actually mean? Well, first of all, it means all of your SaaS in one single platform, giving you the complete transparency, making sure you have the right information at the right time to take the right decisions. What does that mean? Think about the software lifecycle. How does software get into a company? How is it being used? And how does it either get out of the company again or get upgraded, changed, whatsoever? What Sastrify does as a platform is we help our customers find and evaluate the right tools. We show them what kind of like market share do those tools have. Is it, if I look for something that's password management, what are the top 3 players that my competitors are using, that my industry is using? How can I stay on top of what's cool and fancy, but also what's delivering great ROI? Then we help them buy and buy in the right way. So we built a whole workflow engine just designed to make approval flows as easy as possible so that you, as a CFO, as the approver, as the budget owner, can always stay on top of what people are actually buying and spending on. And then finally, there's the whole track and reevaluate part. The big part about SaaS is obviously that it's recurring, right? We all, from the vendor side, we obviously love recurring contracts. From the buyer side, it's something you have to be on top of, right? It's sticky. You have to prep like 3-4 months if you really want to exchange a SaaS solution, typically. So being on top of that, having the right time, and also making sure that your colleagues are aware that this contract is actually up for renewal, that's really the third part. So from the day somebody thinks about the software to the day it's maybe sunsetted in the company, that's really where we focus on. We bring a ton of data into this, from benchmarking data on prices, from usage analytics on how software is actually being used within the company, to really make sure that you can base your decisions on the right set of data there. What does it mean for customers? Well, I put a couple of quotes up there. I think it's a lot about, as I mentioned, it's about transparency, knowing what's actually going on, being in control of your destiny and where you spend the money as a company. There is a part of where we can really be the secret sauce for procurement and finance teams, where we can really help them and give them the right ammunition for those negotiations. It's just super helpful to know what a good discount at your Salesforce licenses looks like, because we've seen a ton of them and they vary quite a bit. So seeing that impact of that really makes a huge difference for our customers. What does it mean in terms of tangible results? Obviously, you reduce a ton of risk. You save tremendous time in going back and forth with vendors. But the really impactful part here is that besides all of this, there's also the cherry on the cake here, which is the tangible ROI. Just knowing that you're getting a good price, making sure that you always have the right licensing model, the right prices for that, and just saving a ton of money, actual dollars or euros or Swiss franc that stay on the bank account. That's really the third and very important layer on what we opt for. Last but not least, a couple of words about us as a company. So Sastrify got started around 3 years ago. We really, Max, my co-founder, and I, we really set off because we experienced the whole struggle ourselves in our previous company. We handle about 2 billion in SaaS spend by now. It's been quite a fun ride over the last couple of years. As you can imagine, the whole topic of being cost-focused was really helpful for us over the last couple of months and quarters. There's about 150 of us across the globe. Both our US teams and European teams are really helping customers day in, day out to optimize this. You might recognize some of the logos up there. We're very happy to work with a lot of the most successful companies, both in tech, but also in other industries, being it fashion or similar. Basically, everybody's using software, and we can help them optimize that spend. That's basically the quick wrap-up. I put my email there, so if you have any questions, if you think like, if there's anything I can be helpful with, SaaS or not SaaS, if you just need a good price on your next Salesforce contract, just drop me an email right now. I'd be happy to respond within the next 24 hours or so, and happy to grab a coffee afterwards. Thank you so much.